Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, citizens of all ages, welcome back to another edition of Star Citizen 3.0.1. That's right, as we inch ever closer to the 3.1 release, coming at, what they say, the end of March, with, I think it was a PTU of 3.1 at the end of February. Boy, I can't wait. One of the things I'm really super duper hella looking forward to is the Reclaimer. But I was thinking about something. Now, it made me a little bit worried. Somebody made a video, in fact it was Minion Soldier, where in his video he said something to the effect like, you know, just because a ship isn't meant to fight doesn't mean it won't be able to, or won't be able to do it well. And he had this really good example where he's like, you know, someone will go out, buy a Super Hornet, and they'll be like, oh, because I gotta buy it because that's like the best, it's, you know, the fighter, and then someone else will go get a Buccaneer and mop the floor with the Super Hornet, but then somebody else will buy a Cutlass Black and mop the floor with the Buccaneer. And that kind of made me start to think a little bit. I'm a little bit worried about the Reclaimer now. During his video, I went and I checked out the store page, and something jumped out at me. The weapons portion was empty. Now, that's not to say it doesn't have any weapons, as it does have turrets, which is right below there. But that reminds me of the Retaliator, and if you've ever flown or if you own a Retaliator, you would know, technically, yeah, the ship has weapons, but not pilot weapons. And this really worries me, because if the Reclaimer turns out to be on the same level as the Retaliator, wherein I mean by that, the pilot has no weapons available to them, I'm going to be supremely disappointed. Now, I'm not expecting the Reclaimer to have, you know, size 5 M7As and, you know, missiles up the ass. Although, given for its size, I hope it has halfway adequate weapons, especially for its speed. You know, I'm not expecting to go in and use this thing as a fighter, but I'm expecting it, for its size and speed, to be able to cover its ass. How much sense would it make to have a reclamation ship, which, I mean, really, half of its role is to go into possibly dangerous areas to do its job. You know, how good of a ship is it going to be if it can be taken down, you know, by a single, I don't know, a Buccaneer, let's say, you know, because the thing is so damn fast and because it doesn't have pilot weapons. I'm talking about the Reclaimer. So I'm a little bit worried now, because I didn't really think of this. I kept looking at the stats page thinking, oh, they're still filling this in, you know, it's still being worked on. But given the fact that its release is, for all intents and purposes, so close at hand, I'm starting to worry. Sure, it's got turrets, that's all well and good, but again, I harken back to the Retaliator. If you've owned one, you know, really, you can't take that out unless you have friends with you. Otherwise, you're just a very large floating target. I mean, granted, sure, you've got those size 9 torpedoes in the tally, but really, most ships probably can outmaneuver them, at least most ships that are in universe currently. I would have to say, though, a Caterpillar, Starfarer, possibly an Andromeda, might fall victim to it, even if they tried not to. But every other ship, let's face it, has really nothing to worry about a Retaliator. You know, again, now, unless it's got the 4 or 5 friends inside, of which then, you know, that thing can sling, sling some lead, for lack of a better term. Can put a lot of hurt downrange, especially if all turrets are focused on 1 or 2 targets. But flip that. You know, let's say you go out. You know, you don't have any of your friends, but you want to fly around what I consider the flying submarine, the Retaliator. I love the look of the Retaliator. It's just, in my opinion, it's got minimal functionality, especially in this stage of the game, and that saddens me. Another thing that actually saddens me, talking about ships that kind of lost their oomph, the Gladiator. So pre 3.0, if you were flying your Gladiator bomber, you had access to wing weapons and the turret, and I loved that. I thought that was awesome. You can use it, you know, if you've got nobody in it. Well, come 3.0, they took that away. And I think that's super bullshit. I'm just gonna say it. I got really used to using the Gladiator like that. I got really used to, you know, I honed in my, what would you call it? My skill... Well, anyway, I practiced in a certain way with it, you know, being able to use that turret. Having them take that away, I really, I mean, it's made my Gladiator much less functional. And I am no pro ace fighter pilot by any stretch of the means, so any help I can get, I kind of need. But I'm really disappointed by that. I'm holding out for the slices, the AI blades, the automated, you know, to automate the turrets on your ships, of which then, depending on how proficient those are, that could make the Retaliator a fucking fearsome ass ship. But again, that's still way in the future. But I digress. Back to my original topic here. The Reclaimer, I really, really sincerely hope has at least some sort of pilot accessible, even if they're just front-facing weapons, just so I can at least have a fucking chance. You know, if I'm being attacked, I don't know, by anything, at least I can bite back, you know, and unless they plan to do something really cool with the claw, where you can literally swat ships out of the air, you know, like that's your weapon, I might take that, you know, especially if the claw moves fast enough. I would actually prefer that over the weapons, because then I could think of some funny, fun, interesting things to do with that. But I don't think that's where they're going with that. I think that's literally just straight utilitarian in nature. Although, Sig, you still got time. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, but really, I really hope that this has front-facing weapons at least, even if they are static. I hope they're of decent size so we can gimbal them down a size lower in case. You know, I hope it's not something super ridiculous, like what I would call for the Caterpillar. The Caterpillar has 4 size 1 weapons on the command pod. I mean, that's just dinky. Now, again, I understand. It's a cargo ship. It's not supposed to be a fighter. Not saying that it should be. And yes, I understand. It does have those, what are they, dual size 4 dual turrets. So there's 2 turrets with 2 size 4. I believe they were size 4 weapons on them. But again, you need buddies in there. Again, makes sense. It is a cargo ship. But I would think at least strap, you know, 4 size 2s to it, especially given if you've got yourself a Caterpillar, you've probably literally got hundreds of thousands of credits worth of cargo in there, and you're really going to stash it behind 4 measly size 1s? I don't think so. Yeah, having those turrets, great idea. I think those are perfect, but the command module, I think, needs larger weapons, The Retaliator heavy bomber needs at least one turret. You know, if the Retaliator had one turret, just one, the front turret, the top front turret that the pilot could control, I would love the ship. I would think it was awesome. And that's it, just that one dual size 2. I think that would make sense for the ship. I think it makes no sense that the ship the ship's pilot has no weapons, basically has no defense except for his buddies, if he has any, or if you're a loner like me, you're basically soloing everything, so you get bitter about the ships where you need friends. No, but really, I'm like a lone wolf when I play, usually. I gotta be in a mood to want to play with people. Like, full disclosure, I'm quite a loner. As if that was hard to make out. So I like to fly my ships primarily solo, especially given the fact that I had much, much, much higher hopes for the turrets in the game. I thought turret gameplay was going to be more, and then look, you see I get stuck behind this weird power bug. I thought the turrets, when they said that they were fixing them, they were going to be more like, what the hell was it? I can't remember the word, but basically where no matter where the ship goes, gyroscopic, is that it? That no matter where the ship goes and moves, the turret will stay facing in the same way to make your shots easier. Because that is not what I've been experiencing. Every time I hop in a turret on someone's ship, it's always, well, if it fires, that is. I had a lot of trouble recently where I'd get into someone else's Retaliator, couldn't use their weapons, and vice versa. So, again, basically completely neutered the ship, whereas had the pilot had access to at least the front turret, shit would have been dope. Although, admittedly, trying to run cargo in the Tally is a bitch, because it seems like those elevators don't hold on to the cargo if you put anything on there, so you've literally either got to carry them all up one by hand, or if you're skilled enough, try to 3-point shot it up through the hole and hope that it doesn't bounce back. It's not hard to throw it in, but it's just a pain in the ass having to angle yourself with the elevator there. I mean, totally doable. It's not like an impossible, you know, fucking task or anything. But it's more of like, damn, this is a little inconvenient. So hopefully the cargo modules that they come out with for the Tally will have a better way, you know, maybe stairs that come down that you can walk up, or a ramp that you can walk up. That way at least you can chuck shit up there if you have to, or you don't have to worry about an elevator. Same with the Reclaimer. I hope the Reclaimer has something where it's a ramp that you can walk things up and down from. I hope it's not an elevator, because elevators don't seem to work very well with the physicalized cargo boxes. And have you ever tried to do an emote on an elevator? Don't. That's your warning from me. Don't. But again, I go back to my original thought. I really, really, really sincerely, truly hope with every fiber of my being that the Reclaimer has pilot-controlled weapons. Now, this brings me to my other point. This person was being such a dick, okay? I was trying to use the cargo kiosk here, and this asshole comes in, tries pushing me out the way. Look at how fucking rude. Let me just say, don't be a rude asshole, okay? Because basically, with him doing this, it threw me completely off what I wanted to do, and I became solely focused on not giving this up. Yes, I'm petty. Yes, I admit to it. I don't care. It's the principle and the fact of the matter. So don't be a dick, okay? Because this is not cool. I know one of the things was broken, but once you saw that I was using it, you know, like, who does this? People have been doing this to me lately in the verse. It's kind of funny. Like, I'll be at my terminal trying to get my ship, and it looks like they're trying to push me out the way for some reason when there's a bunch more open. And I can't help but think these people are possibly thinking that if they jump in with my ships up, that they'll be able to call my ships. That's the only thing I can think of, you know, aside from just being annoying. But the ferocity that some of these people have been doing it really gives me the idea that they think they can just take my ships. Now, right here, this entire time, I'm holding forward and sideways. This person's still trying to push me out the way. It's like, dude, get out. Like, I've got this. Like, if you would stop fucking with me, I would have been done by now. You know, so it's like he really literally just kind of extended the amount of time that I was using it, which by the time he goes away, I completely forgot what I was trying to do here, and I was like trying to remember. I was like, God damn it, damn assholes. So it's funny, I was walking around and I noticed this guy was like trying to get my attention or something. I was like, oh shit, we're wearing the same armor. So I was like, yeah, look at that. Ooh. I was like, you, sir, are cool. And it's like these weird little interactions like this I really, really dig about Star Citizen. You know? I can't wait for this to become more than it is. I really hope they get the optimizations in for 3.1. Speaking of optimizations, I saw something maybe a day or two ago that kind of took me aback. It seems as though server meshing is now slated for, what, 3.3 or 3.4? And I saw people getting all sorts of excited for this and da-da-da-da-da. Am I the only one sitting there who's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's, you know, cool our jets, you know, hold your horses there. We need to get some optimization in here first before we can even think about having server meshing. For those uninitiated, server meshing basically is having all of the different servers unified into one giant, how would you say, jigsaw of a network of sorts. So for the example, let's say, well, look it up. I don't want to get into the exact explanation. I don't want to lose my train of thought. But basically what I'm saying is, how are they planning on doing that when just having the servers alone as they are, when they start to get to capacity, I mean, they start tanking. One thing that I'm hoping that comes about this is that they'll maybe be able to have a ton, and I mean a ton, of auxiliary servers that are up that possibly they could, like, throw the load into, giggity, to try to ease up on client and server side resource absorption. But I think I'm thinking of this all wrong. But when I saw that they were looking to server mesh, the first thing that I thought was, I feel like that might hurt more than it might help. Because once these servers first come online and almost nobody is in them, it's so much better. And the way that I foresee this, and correct me if I'm reading into this incorrectly, but it seems like what they would do is, let's say Hurston is on one server, just for argument's sake, Crusaders on another, and, you know, when you fly over there, you'll basically transfer servers, in essence. Like that's, I think, one aspect that I could see coming up with that. But at the same time, what they could also try doing is, like I said, having kind of that back end and try to kind of offload the extra things onto the more empty servers to kind of free up the fresh ones, or the currently used. I don't know. I'm hoping that they are able to at least get the optimization in, is what I'm saying. I think people are getting a little bit too excited with the server meshing idea, although I could be wrong. It would not be the first time that I'm wrong, and I'm I have the wrong definition of what I think I'm saying. I'm totally fine admitting that. But I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous because with 3.0.1, when that first came out, as I said in the previous video, first night, performance was awesome. It was great. I was at like 35 to 45 FPS, almost at a constant. Like, it would dip in or around there, and my heart was fluttering. I was like, yes, this is a new era, a dawning of a new era of Star Citizen. This is going to be amazing. And then I played the next day, and it basically almost identically resembled the prior patch, just 3.0, only the ships were spawning with items. Now, don't get me wrong, super stoked that my ships are ships again, but I've been noticing this really odd bug. I've been noticing random doubles of ships. Now, I remember hearing or reading something where if you did some type of voodoo magic with the weapons on a ship of this and that, it could duplicate it or something temporarily in the database or something like that. But I'm talking ships that I haven't even used in the longest time. So let me tell you. I was looking at my inventory, and I scrolled all the way down. I had 2 scythes. Now, I have 1 scythe because I'm a subscriber, but there was a second one, and I hadn't taken the scythe out in, my God, probably since 2.6.3 at least. So I didn't even do anything with that. And then I saw I had a second Starfarer Gemini in my inventory. I was like, what? I was like, oh, maybe they're finally giving ships, you know, for the ones that we own, even if it's doubles. Because I did see that I had, what was the other one I had 2 of? 2 Cutlass Blacks and 2 Super Hornets. But I mean, I've had those because of what I have. They were the loaners that they were given to me. But I got really excited when I saw the second Starfarer Gemini. But lo and behold, I believe that was some sort of bug. Now, I did take out the Starfarer Gemini previously, but I didn't do anything to it. I just pulled it out, jumped in, flew away, kind of meandered around, did a little bit of cargo with it, and then flew back. Hell, I don't even think I flew back. I think I lost it, now that I think about it. I think the game crashed while I was in it. Yeah, it did. But then I went back to Alisar, and then all of a sudden I noticed there was 2 entries, because I went to go claim the Gemini, and there were 2. I was like, what? I don't remember having 2. So, and then it's weirdly, I couldn't claim one of them, so I started getting really upset, and I started server hopping, trying to get it to work, and I jumped like 6 or 7 servers, and I still had the 2 in there. 1 destroyed, 1 awaiting delivery. It was nuts. Well, it was awaiting delivery up until like the 2nd or 3rd server. And then by like the 4th or 5th, it was choosable, but the other one was still destroyed. So I was like, what the hell is going on? Like I said, at first I was excited. I was like, yes, 2 Geminis, awesome. But alas, that was not to be. But that's okay. I got over it pretty quickly. And speaking of ships and things of the like, the Redeemer. So it's basically been all but completely confirmed the Redeemer is not being worked on, is not being planned to be worked on for quite a while. SIG isn't sure if they want it to be a dropship or a gunship. It's no longer both, which really hurts my heart because it was, you know, sold as, if you will, both. I was actually hoping it to be more of a gunship, which seems the way they might be headed. So there's at least that silver lining. But it's got absolutely no role in Squadron. It is purely Star Citizen content, and it seems that is going to be in the works for a very long time. And as I stated in my last video, so happy to hear that Tessa Bannister is in fact coming back. Homegirl, love you, miss you, boo. Our favorite junior cartographer. Hopefully she comes in sooner than later, although it does seem as though she's not scheduled for anything to make an appearance until some sort of scanning or more robust version of scanning. No, when scanning actually comes into the game. But I'm excited to see what they have in store, and I can't wait to have her back in the verse making funny comments and corny jokes. So other than that, I think I'm going to wrap the video up here. You know, I still have yet to get Eckhart or Rudo to get a hold of me. I highly doubt I'm going to get Rudo, as I generally play more on the law-abiding side. Whenever I get a crime stat, it's almost always by accident. Either I bump into my ship, or somebody attacks me and I have to fight back, and somehow I get a crime stat over it, and yet they're hunky-dory peachy keen. The other part about that, though, is it seems that there's something going on with the pirates. As I kind of briefly touched upon in my last video, it seems like pirates are kind of... Ooh, bumped the thingy. It seems pirates are spawning endlessly and, like, infinitely, and are spawning in weird places. Like, I flew to Daymar, jumped to OM2, and I was looking for something on the planet while flying towards it, and all of a sudden, 3 pirates spawned in front of me. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, actually. You know, sometimes I'm looking for battle when I'm just kind of out and about. 3 more spawned in. And I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. Next thing I know, there's 6 behind me, and then, all of a sudden, 3 more right in front of... Literally, they just materialized in front of me out of nowhere. And this continued to happen until the game crashed. So that made it really, really difficult to basically do anything. So I have yet to fully complete an ECN mission now because of the endlessly, infinitely spawning pirates. The first encounter I actually had with this, quote, feature, unquote, was in an ECN mission. And I was flying my glaive, and I took out like 2 or 3 of them. And I've played the ECN missions before, and I usually always beat 1, and then the game crashes for some odd reason. But since 3.0.1, I have not been able to complete a single one. Because every time I knock out like 2 or 3, 5 or 6 have already spawned up. And it just compounds and compounds until the game crashes. So hopefully they'll have some interim patch for this interim patch, or at least hotfix the server, or do something, because that has been a really huge bane for my Star Citizen experience. So, other than that, I'm going to end the video here. So, I just want to say thank you very much for everybody who's watched up to this point. If you liked the video, please leave a like, as that really lets me know if I should continue doing these types of videos, and it'll help my self-esteem and my depression. Yay! Questions, comments, concerns, as always, leave them down in the comments. If you have ideas for future episodes, also down in the comment section for me. I always read each and every one of your guys' comments. I love the interaction, and to be completely honest, you guys make me laugh. You guys have some great ideas. Some of you just complete dicks, but that's cool. You know, it's going to happen. You know, there's 3 types of people in this world: dicks, pussies, and assholes. Well, I won't go into the rest of it, but you can look up that quote if you'd like. I think it's quite accurate. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope all you beautiful bastards out there have yourselves a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are. This has been Will. Peace.